realize that being a father doesn't make you a dad. In my husband's family, boys had to fight their brothers bare knuckle on their birthdays until someone got knocked out. I only learned about this at my brother-in-law Lewis's 25th birthday party 4 years ago. Everyone gathered in the backyard like it was totally normal while Lewis and his younger brother Zane squared off shirtless. Their father Matthias stood between them holding a whistle and shouting about proper form. By the third round, Lewis's eye was swollen shut and Zane's nose was broken. When Lewis finally dropped, Matthias kicked him awake and called him weak for only lasting 12 minutes. When I gasped in horror, my husband Denver squeezed my hand and whispered that I'd get used to it. Matthias had raised his 4 sons alone after their mother died and turned them into what he called real men. The man could flip from loving grandpa to drill sergeant in seconds. He kept detailed records of every fight, tracking who won and lost, using it to rank his sons at family dinners. My husband Denver's 28th birthday was coming up and I watched him get more stressed every day. He'd wake up sweating and spend hours at the gym preparing. That's when Matthias started working on me about my future role. He invited me over and showed me his collection of fight videos going back 20 years. "This is how we make men in our family," he said while pointing out proper punching technique. "You'll need to understand this when your boys are old enough. 6 years old is when they start training." He went on about how I'd need to set up the fights fairly and keep score. "The women who marry our boys need to support this tradition. A woman who coddles her sons has no place in our family." He showed me pictures of Denver at 8 years old with a black eye after losing to Lewis on his birthday. The birthday party felt like watching a gladiator match. Family members filled Matthias's backyard while Denver warmed up looking sick. When it was time, Denver and his youngest brother David faced each other. Matthias made a big show of explaining the rules while everyone cheered. First blood meant nothing. Someone had to go down and stay down. I stood there frozen as they started swinging. My 4-year-old son Colin squeezed my leg harder with each punch that landed. By the 5th minute, Denver's lip was split and David's ribs were clearly hurting. Matthias kept yelling for them to hit harder and stop dancing around like girls. When Denver finally knocked David out with an uppercut, Matthias raised his hand like a champion while David lay there not moving. Matthias stopped the celebration and looked right at my son Colin. "6 more years and you'll be in there showing us what you're made of," he said. Colin looked up at me with tears in his eyes and asked if he'd have to hurt his baby brother. That question broke me. I grabbed both my sons and started to leave while Matthias yelled about raising weak boys. He followed us to the car saying Colin needed to toughen up. When I told him my sons would never fight each other, he laughed and said it wasn't my choice. We started skipping family events and Matthias's calls got meaner. He threatened to cut Denver out of the will and reminded us he owned the house we rented from him. When we didn't show up for Zane's birthday fight, Matthias came to our house with Denver's brothers. They dragged Denver to the backyard while neighbors watched. Matthias made him fight all 3 brothers at once as punishment for disrespecting tradition. The cops called it a family dispute and said we should handle it ourselves. Matthias filed for grandparents' rights, and I'll never forget him telling the judge he just wanted to help raise strong grandsons. My heart dropped when the court mediator turned out to be one of Matthias's old military buddies. He smiled while suggesting supervised visits at Grandpa's house might be good for the boys. Our lawyer quit after getting a phone call from Matthias. Even Denver's aunt, who promised to testify about the abuse, suddenly couldn't remember anything. I sat in that courtroom while they acted like teaching boys to beat each other unconscious was normal family bonding. Matthias looked right at Colin and mouthed "soon" while his lawyer talked. Everything exploded at Colin's 6th birthday when Matthias showed up demanding to start his training. He had boxing gloves and said we were making Colin soft. When he grabbed my son's arm, I got between them. Matthias punched me in the face and broke my jaw. Denver jumped him while the neighbors called 911. The assault charges finally got us a restraining order, but we knew it wouldn't stop Matthias. We packed up that night and left the state. Denver lost his job and we burned through savings staying off Matthias's radar. My parents took Matthias's side after he told them I was keeping their grandsons from becoming men. Colin wakes up screaming about fighting while his brother hides during every argument. We got away, but we're still running and I check every car that looks like Matthias's truck.